How do you protect IP and code?
The best way to protect your code is to use your own source code, system, your own GitHub or whatever, or Team Foundation Server, whatever system you're using, to keep the code within that and have the outsourcing partner check code into your own system. If you can't do that, if you're not an organization that has that sort of facility, then make sure that the arrangement with your vendor is that once the source code has been at various stages or at the end of the project, that the source code is owned by you and is available to you. In terms of the IP, in terms of ideas, etc., established outsourcing vendors like ourselves, we rely entirely on our reputation. The decent vendor will give you references, will tell you clients that you can speak to, will show you how they manage your code and manage the experience going. But I will go back to find a vendor that you trust and take time to sort of make sure you know that vendor. Often start with something small. You don't necessarily have to give an outsourcing company a huge project which is mission critical. You can start with something that perhaps you've had on the back burner for a while and not got round to doing, and do that first and build up that level of trust that you need to go forward with them.
What is the best way to manage the relationship, set expectations, and when is the relationship finished?
One of the most common mistakes I see with people outsourcing is the idea that once you've outsourced it, it's no longer your responsibility, as if you've thrown it over a fence and now you're going to wait however long your project is for it to come back and everything will be fine. It really doesn't work that way. You need to manage your outsourced team just as much you would if they were a team in the office next door. In fact, at the early stages of it, you need to spend more time with them. The key thing is that it's not like passing something over to someone else. Generally speaking, you need to be in the same number of meetings as you would normally. You need to be answering questions. You need to have people within your team from a technical point of view who are answering questions, and equally from a business point of view who are explaining the business logic behind different things. So the more you make your outsourcing partner part of your team, the better. Expectations are a very important area to think about. The people within your business know your business backwards. The people at the outsourcing vendor work in any number of different industries. It is not a reasonable thing to assume that your vendor knows the business you're in as well as you do. And you need to make sure that the business requirements and wherever possible, the technical requirements are communicated. Now, if we're mixing this up with vendor selection, one of the things that we will do as a company is when we produce an estimation, whether that's a fixed price estimation or whether it's a sort of discovery phase estimation of what's involved in producing something, is we will produce a detailed set of tasks. And that gives you a basis. If the thing that you have expected to be done is not within this task list, and you should study the task list, then you should be coming back to us saying, no, for example, why haven't you included integration into a payment portal? And the answer will quite likely be because you didn't ask us to, and it may well be that you've just assumed that, of course, you want integration into a payment portal. This is just an example, but you need to make sure that everybody knows what the expectation is. Your vendor should be helping you with this, but it's not just his responsibility. You need to be involved in it as well. So when it comes to ending the relationship, my only view from both sides of the fence is that relationships, if they are going to end, should end well. you should be looking at, as a customer, you should be thinking your vendor, let's assume it's us, and we have done a very good job for you, has done a very good job for you. You just don't need them anymore. You might need them again. So try and end your relationship as well as possible. And from a vendor's perspective, I do the same thing. If someone comes to me and says that they need to stop the contract that we have going on with them, of course, we prefer they didn't. But they're somebody who has bought from us in the past. They're somebody who could buy from us in the future. So you try and smooth that as much as possible. You obviously have a financial aspects of settling up, etc. But make sure that obviously you get back all of the source code to your system and all of the artifacts. We sort of create a package of all of this in order to return it when we come out of a relationship, and your vendor and the vendor you use should do the same.
Where do you see the future of outsourcing?
Right now, if you need a reasonable sized team of talent and you need them quickly, you don't really have much choice, because it's very difficult to employ people in most of the markets we're in. As technology trends move, will we do more outsourcing? I think we probably will, and as sort of specialisms like blockchain, like AI, like big data, like the Internet of Things, as these all have a bigger influence on what we do, it becomes harder to just find people who know it. Whereas outsourced companies have established teams who've worked in those disciplines for some time. So I think it's here to stay. I think it's a good thing. I don't think it should be seen as anything other than a good way of getting the best talent available in the world.